Hi again, this is John Nielsen from Wing Chun Hall, and I just got some stuff in the mail that I thought I'd share with you guys. I've seen people do this on YouTube before, where they did this unwrapping of a package, and so I thought I'd give that a try. And what I got was this pair of practice Batjumdao, and I'm gonna open that here in front of you. But first, I want to say that they came from the Playwell martial arts company. I don't know where that is, but I ordered it off of Amazon, and I'll put a link on the bottom of this video. And it's called Black Polypropylene Plastic Wing Chun Training Knives. So, like I said, you can look that up, or you can buy it on Amazon. Now, first, I want to say that before I thought of doing the video, I already took it out of the package that it came wrapped in, and I want to say that I'm not really impressed with their packaging. So that's one thing that maybe they could improve. But let's go ahead and open this up now. Out of there. And actually, I'm really excited about getting these so that we can practice with them, because I've got a couple of people who are right now on the blades forms. So we're working on those, and we've actually gone to the shorter blades like this. And we've had a series of different types of practice weapons that we were using too that never really did the job. So I'm really excited to give this a try and see how it works. And if it works well, I'll come back to do another video about that and let you know. So first of all, let's get to these blades. Now, I brought my Batjumdao so that I could compare them to you. You can see that it's got the regular D guard here and the 90-degree quilling over here. Also, you can see that the sides of the blades have a fuller in them, and that they're embossed, so they look nice. One thing I noticed, though, about these blades that is, well, a couple things, actually. First of all, this is the one of the official blades that Yip has had made after his father's pattern. And I'll talk a little bit more about his father's pattern later on. And this one is different from that, in that, as you can see, with the original one, there are a few things. One of them is that the blade or the back of the blade is at the same level or flush with the handle, or at least close to it. So in other words, the tang goes through right about at this point here. But in this copy of it, this practice blade, the tang's coming down here, which is actually more like what you would consider a wudito or a hudio, depending on whether you're Mandarin or Cantonese speaking. So that's a little bit different. Plus, I don't know why they did this, unless, well, there's a hole through that, so maybe that's the reason that they did it. But the original Batjumdao don't have this little place for a bolt or a nut on the back of it, and this one does. But maybe the reason that they did that is so that you could put a string through that and hang it, or hang on a nail on the wall or something like that, so that you didn't have to damage the blade, or I don't know for sure. But so that's one difference, this, and then another difference here. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, and then of course the obvious difference is that, as you can see with the original Batjumdao, they're designed so that one side of them is flat, and so that you can put them together like this, and they can fit into one sheath. But with these blades here, they're fully rounded and fully formed on both sides, so they don't fit flat together. Now, I actually think that's a good thing. I think that the notion of making them flat on one side so that they fit into one sheath is a mistaken notion. So, but in any case, it doesn't really matter. You're not planning on putting a practice blade in a sheath, so it's good. Now, I think these are great practice blades. One thing that I wanted to mention was that this business about the handle being flush with the back of the blade is something that you see on a lot of the Batjumdao, but a lot of the actual hudido that were found, or wudito that were found on the battlefield and that still survive till today, are actually more like this. However, there are Bowie knives that have survived from that period too. It's basically the same time period. So we're talking about 1850s and 1860s or so, that are actually like the Batjumdao, where the handle is flush with the back of the blade. So I want to talk a little bit about where I believe this comes from, based on the story that Iching told me about the way where his father got this design over here. So what he told me was that when Yip Man came from Foshan into Hong Kong, he brought with him a pair of peachwood practice Batjumdao. So they were obviously a pair of Batjumdao that were carved out of wood, and so they were used to be practiced, or they were to be used for practice. Okay, and so he then took that wooden pair of blades to a metallurgist or metalsmith, whatever you call him, and he had them forge what you now see as the regular Wing Chun Batjumdao. So the point is, they came from a pair of wooden practice blades. Now, I believe that's the reason for this rounded edge here, because it was always meant to be a pair of practice blades. In other words, if you get a good pair of urito or a bowie knife or something like that, there's more of a point on the end of it, and that's for stabbing instead of this rounded edge like this. And the obvious reason for rounding the edges, so that when you practice it, you can actually practice, stabbing into your practice partner without doing any harm. Also, the thickness of the blade here, like this, and the width of it would be to help it so that it wouldn't break when you were practicing with it too. So actually, it looks like that's probably where it came from, which makes these kinds of blades really good for practicing with. So, like I said, I'm going to give these a try, and I'll probably let you know how they are in a future video. And so, if you want to, see more of this, just keep on watching and just subscribe. And we'll bring you more of this kind of stuff. And if you guys want a kind of a martial art that helps you with self-defense, you got to train for self-defense. Wing Chun is a full program that allows you to do that. So if you want to know more about that, go ahead and go to my website. Send me an email or send me a line on the YouTube channel, and I'll try to get back with you and help you out with that. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.